Thank you. I just love it when a spiritual community comes together, feeling the peace. My talk today is going to be about Hispanic Heritage Month, but I love the way Reverend Sunshine earlier in the month, pieces to peace. And I'm going to be using that today, okay? Oh, I'm so pleased to be here. I am. My favorite motivational speaker by the name of Les Brown used the words plum, pleasing, pleasure. So I want you to know for me, it's a plum, pleasing pleasure to be here with you today. I am a guest in your spiritual home. I'm company. And I want to start by just asking a question. Who is Joelle? Well, Reverend Sunshine told you a little bit about me. My pronouns are he and him. I'm an American of Mexican descent, born and raised in San Jose, California, like she mentioned. I'm the fourth of 7 children, the first 3 born at home in Texas. And I was the first one born in the hospital in San Jose, California. Family was moving up. Now people do it at home because it's a thing. Right? Back then, Mom had them at home because that was the way we did things. And she says to me, mijo in Spanish, my son, mijo, when I had you, it was lonely. They didn't let anybody in the room. In 1952, that's me. So that means I'm a baby boomer baby. Something important about me too is I want you to know I'm a Vietnam era veteran, serving in the United States Air Force. And I'll be honest too, if there wasn't a draft, I might not gone in. But I had to make a choice. You're going to burn your draft card, you're going to Canada, or you're going in. And I just was not ready to shoot somebody. So I ran to the Air Force. And I served my 4 years, and it was one of the best things that ever happened to me. Just so you know, a Vietnam veteran is someone who has served in Vietnam. A Vietnam era veteran is someone who was in the military during the time of the war. So I am a Vietnam era veteran. Different than right over there. There's another one. Any other veterans in the house? There's another one over there. Thank you. Over there too. Thank you for your service. Thank you for your service. We're going to talk today a little bit about Hispanic Heritage Month. As Reverend Sunshine mentioned, that it starts today. And so part of who I am is a Chicano. And some people in the room might say, what's that? A simple explanation is someone like myself of Mexican descent born here in San Jose, or born in the United States. Now, because there's some people that don't accept that label. I do. When you hang around with me enough, you get to know who I am, that's what I claim. I'm going to tell you more about that later. Importantly, I'm a first-year ministerial student. So, I'm a licensed practitioner. Where's my licensed practitioner in the house? Thank you. Please hold me in high watch today. Okay, hold me up today. Because this is my first time. Hold me in high watch in your consciousness. This is my first time speaking from the pulpit, from the past. It's in my future. And my future is now. So I want to thank you, Reverend Sunshine, again for bringing me here. And I already thanked you about these symbols. I'm going to be using them today. And Reverend Sunshine, you taught me a new word on September the 1st when you delivered the message of this month. I had never used the word homophone. I had never used that word before. Homophone. Homophone. Okay? And I went and looked it up after you mentioned it. So words like pieces and peace are homophonous. So that's an adjective. So you can talk about words that are homophonous, or you can say that's a homophone. I want to thank you for teaching me, Reverend Sunshine. That one was online when the internet was working. It was working. I'm going to get started here, but I want to teach you a term that has to do with my Chicano Latino roots. And it also has to do with an orange. An orange. Yes, a piece of fruit, an orange. Okay? When you take an orange and you split it in half, what do you have? 2 half oranges. And in Spanish we say, media naranja. Media naranja. Media, half, naranja, orange. I want you to know that my media naranja is in the room today. And I say that because in my culture, for some of us, it means my other half. Okay? Now, I know, and we all know that if you're into science of mind, I'm always perfect, whole, and complete. But I'm going to tell you, I'm more perfect, whole, and complete with Rita. Nothing else, walk away with media naranja. You might walk up to someone and say, hey, maybe you want to be my media naranja? You know? So anyway, I just wanted to give a shout out to Rita. So thank you for being here, Rita. I don't take it for granted. Thank you for being here. Got you up early today. So there's 3 points I want to make during my talk today. Number 1, there is more to know about Hispanic Heritage Month, which started today. Number 2, I think that sound is coming when I touch the table. No, that's my mouth. Okay. Number 2, Hispanic Heritage Month can be used as an example of pieces into peace. And number 3, I want to connect some of our spiritual mind principles, some of our spiritual principles to pieces into peace with Hispanic Heritage Month. I want to connect some of our spiritual principles. In this teaching, we have what we call spiritual principles, like oneness. We're all one. And we have spiritual practices, like spiritual mind treatment, or one of my favorite spiritual practices, gratitude. Gratitude. There's a list. Come to classes and you'll learn more about it. Okay? I also want to have some fun today, and I hope you do too. There's that word encourage. And when I ask you to encourage someone, encourage a child, encourage a friend, you know that means you got to do something. And courage, give courage. I want you to enjoy with me. Give Joel some joy and joy. And give yourself some joy. Let's have some fun today, okay? I need to warn you. I put this down as a warning. You're listening to someone whose daddy was a Pentecostal preacher. Okay, now, we're a teaching order. We're not a preaching order. But, bruh, if it comes out that I look a little bit like a preacher, you just go, Joel, give me a signal. I'll tone it down. But I'm going to be okay. But I wanted to say the name Humberto Herrera. 5th grader, stopped working, stopped school to work to support the family. I like to say he read the Bible from front to back a couple times at least. That was his life. Pentecostal preaching. Preaching throughout the Southwest. They would call him, hey, come and preach. I didn't even know that most Mexican Americans were Catholic until I was older. Spanish-speaking Pentecostal churches, that's where I was raised. Okay. I do know this. I'm going to bring you some pleasure today. And the reason I know that is because there was a guy named Will Rogers. They say he was a humorist. And Will Rogers said, I like company. Because company always brings pleasure. If not when they come, then when they go. So I got to tell you, if at the end of my message you feel like I brought you pleasure when I came, please tell Reverend Sunshine. But if it was pleasure when I leave, just tell me. Don't tell her. Okay. Hispanic Heritage Month. Let's get to the first point. There's more to know about it. You know, in June we have Pride Month. In May we have Asian Pacific American Heritage Month. In February we have Black History Month. But today, September the 15th, is important because it's the anniversary of the independence for these countries Listen to this. Today, Costa Rica, El Salvador, Guatemala, Honduras. You know, the H is silent. I'm saying it in Spanish. Because if you heard me go Honduras, that's English, that's okay. But I'm saying it in Spanish. Honduras. And we also have Nicaragua. And in addition, Mexico, that's where my people come from. Mexico celebrates their Independence Day on September 16th, tomorrow. And Chile celebrates their Independence Day on September 18th. And there's more that goes into October. So we have several days focused on independence, which is another way of saying freedom. And freedom is one of our spiritual principles. Ernest Holmes says, I am responsible for all my actions, my reactions, and my interactions. And we always have the freedom of how we're going to react. Okay, that's part of it. There's a lot more. Come to classes at the center. Okay, and you'll study more about that. But 7 countries will celebrate their freedom. And that's great. But who falls under this term, this label? Hispanic. Well, I can do, or we can do, a weekend workshop on that. I'm serious. A weekend, we'll just listen to some of these pieces that fall under the umbrella of Hispanic. Latinos, Mexican Americans, Puerto Ricans, Cubans, Spaniards, Chicanos, Mexicans, Latinx, and more. It's an umbrella term. It's an umbrella term. And there's a lot that falls under, but I got to tell you, taking it to another level and drilling down, there is a significant amount of discussion about the acceptance of some of these terms. Especially Hispanic, Latino, Latinx. I have friends that would not call themselves a Chicano. Born and raised like me. Born and raised here. And I have some friends, if you're around me enough, you know that's who I am. But what am I really? Always a spiritual being. I am, first and always, a spiritual being. I stumbled onto a place called the Duke University School of Medicine as I prepared for this talk. And they have an Office of Equity, Diversity, and Inclusion. And I tell you what, it was worth visiting that page because they had some information about the terms I just mentioned. And they posed the question, what term is best to use? When you're looking at people like me or dealing with communities like mine, what term is best to use? They start out by going, it's complicated. And I want to tell you, ain't nothing complicated in the mind of God. Ain't nothing complicated in the mind of God. But there it is. The page even went further to explain and what the terms were. And even better, the staff in this School of Medicine, and I'm talking about nurses and doctors, admin staff, where you got a little snapshot of like, they said, well, who are you? What term do you use? You know what? And so that little discussion was, I learned from it. And this is present time today. But you know, terms are labels. And labels are just something that we humans create so we can approach each other, so we can know each other. And it's also a real thing. I mean, think of all the grasses, the different type of grasses that the Great Spirit created. Sometimes I go, well, I'm a Chicano blade of grass. You know, some grasses, they need less sun, more water, less water. They're different. Okay? You might want to visit that page. For myself, I already told you, like, I don't get upset. People say, I'm Hispanic. But I gotta tell you, I don't never walk around saying I'm Hispanic. Just not me. So there's these terms, they're labels, and And the labels are pieces. But we are one, and we are one, we're in peace. Okay? And that's part of my second point. Joan Baez said, if people have to put labels on me, I prefer the first label to be human being. The second label to be pacifist. And the third to be folk singer. So, you know, Joan Baez, she's one of our heroes in our house. Okay, I'm looking at my time, so I'll look at that every so often. And I say, and I've said it already, we are spiritual beings. That is actually, again, one of our spiritual principles. And we do have differences. But those differences don't have to lead to fears and or prejudices. President Jimmy Carter, still alive and kicking because he wants to vote on this next election. He said, Jimmy Carter said, and me, Media Naranja and I have been to his presidential library. She took us to Jimmy Carter's library. But he said, the bond of our common humanity is stronger than the divisiveness of our fears and prejudices. Amen. That's Jimmy Carter. We say amen. Yes, absolutely. So please know that we are spiritual beings subject to spiritual laws, moving and having our being in oneness. Oneness, which is one of our spiritual principles that we live by. The Great Spirit created all manner of flowers and trees. The Great Spirit created all manner of animal life. And the Great Spirit created all manner of human beings. All of these terms and more. That presence, that power, is so powerful that it could create 8 billion pieces of humanity and give each one of us an individualized fingerprint. What kind of power is that? That's awesome power. So we are all one. Everything and everyone is spirit expressive. So I want to ask you, how do you choose to express your life with and despite, or with or despite all the human labels that we put on each other? How do you choose to express your life? I'm going to ask my wife to take a picture of me while I hold this. I'm going to ask Rita, because this is Ernest Holmes, everybody. Okay? And Science of Mind Archives just recently moved, and they're doing a fundraiser. So you make a donation, and you get an Ernest Holmes cutout. You make a bigger donation, you get a bigger cutout. And if you make a big donation, I'll get a cutout that he's as tall as me. Of course, he was only like 5'4", so he won't be as tall as me. But you get a life-size Ernie. Our founder, and River Sunshine, you will have one coming to you, a gift from Rita and I. Okay, you have one coming to you. Okay, but Ernest Holmes said, and he's talking about life. I say life is ours to co-create with the Great Spirit. And I have a quotation here from Ernest Holmes. Oh, I have it written up. May 20th, 2023 it's been where I can see it whenever I sit down in my study, whenever I sit. Life, this is what El Ernie in our home, he's known as El Ernie. El Ernie. Because, you know, we read the Science of Mind magazine, the daily quotations, and there's always a quotation by Ernest Holmes. So we're going to say, what does El Ernie say today? Life undoubtedly belongs to the ones who take it. But how can we take it unless we first give it? It is impossible. So true givingness is the transmitting of the self to everything we do, no matter what it is. The outpouring of ourselves into every undertaking with an enthusiastic zest, love, kindness, and friendliness. Man, he not only says zest, he says an enthusiastic zest. So if I get a little excited about out here, that's because I'm trying to be enthusiastic. I'm checking my time, and I'm going, I better wrap it up. Okay. So I just want to finish off on the third point. We already connected oneness, and we connected being spiritual beings. And, you know, you get that in your mind and then just refuse to be moved off of it. I am a spiritual being having a human experience. Refuse to be moved off of it. I am living in oneness. Refuse to, you know, it's like I told you I grew up in the church. And you might know this song, you might not. But the one that goes, you know, like a tree planted by the waters, I shall not be moved. I shall not be moved. I shall not be moved, just like a tree planted by the waters. I shall not be moved. I'm a spiritual being. I'm a spiritual being, just like a tree planted by the waters. I shall not be moved. When they come at you with all this other stuff, try to take you off your game, sing that to yourself. I shall not be moved. You're in charge. Just like that song that I sang for so long. I release and I let go. Oh man, did I get into that one for a while. I used to drive around just singing that because, and that means something. Okay. Dolores Huerta is one of our Chicana heroes, and she said, we cannot let people drive wedges between us because there's only one human race. And then Reverend Sonny Cantrell, our spiritual leader, in this month's magazine said, transitioning from pieces into peace begins with acknowledging each piece's significance. Every piece plays a vital role. There's a lot more, but I think I'm running out of time. And because I want to be invited back, I think I'm going to start wrapping it up. I want to quote one more person, though. She's a Chicana and a proud one, and her name is Sandra Cisneros. And people across this country read her book, House on Mango Street, at the high school and university level.
She spoke at my university.
Yeah, there you go. Yes.
I got extra credit this year.
Right on, right on. Well, we heard her speak. Rita and I heard her speak. And she had just finished appearing on the cover of Hispanic magazine. And she had on the magazine, she had this big old tattoo on her arm, and she stood like this, and this big old tattoo, and it said, Pura Latina. And then when we heard her speak, she says, I never got along with that word Hispanic. But she was going to be on the cover of Hispanic magazine, so she had to do something. So she says, when we see ourselves, when we can see, this is Sandra Cisneros, when we can see ourselves in people that are most unlike ourselves, whether it's gender, race, economics, or spirituality, that is a way for us to become more human with one another. I had such a crush on her for a while, Sandra Cisneros. And Rita and I went to hear her speaking. We stood in line to say hi to her, and it was me, Rita, and Rita's niece. And I got to the front, and I just grabbed her hand and I said, I have such a crush on you. And she goes, but your wife is so beautiful. I go, I know she is, but I still have a crush on you. I said that right in front of Rita. Okay, so we looked hopefully a tiny bit more about Hispanic Heritage Month. There's a lot more. That it can be used as an example of pieces into peace. And that we connected some spiritual principles to these two items, okay? Because of who I am, I can't let you go without doing three que vivas. I want to tell you what that is. I'm a Chicano, and in our world we go, que viva! It's like saying, it's like in England, you know, long live the king. We have our way of doing things, you know. So here's what you're going to do. I'm going to say something que viva, and you're going to go que viva. I'm going to do that 3 times. Your part is simple. You just go que. Feel free to throw that fist in the air because it comes from our civil rights time together. Que viva! Okay, are you ready?
Yes.
Que viva science of mind!
Que viva!
Que viva Oakland Center of Spiritual Living!
Que viva!
Que viva Reverend Sunshine!
Que viva!
this in our community to get ourselves excited about what's going on. And it goes like this. I just start clapping, and then I go faster and faster, and we stop, and then we start to slowness again. So follow me. Come on. We're going to bring it up. All right. We're going to get our energy going. We're going to know that we are one. We're going to go a little faster. Okay? We are one. We are one. We are spiritual beings. Come on. Que viva! Where are we going? What's the singing here? Here we go, come on. Okay. We're going to, oh, by the way, if you're going to record, you can watch Telemundo or your Spanish-speaking TV tonight. Because Mexico will start celebrating Independence Day tonight. Okay? They have a big old thing to do on the plaza there. This is the time when we're going to go into prayer. So the prayer box, whoever's bringing the prayer box will come up. And our practitioners, and thank you for holding me in high watch, will surround our congregation, right? And I will start a spiritual mind treatment, which is our way of affirmative prayer. And then I'm going to pass the prayer off to our divine Reverend Sunshine. Are we ready?
Yes.
It looks like we're ready. So let's go into prayer. And I pause, and I stop, and I recognize the one presence that is, the Great Spirit, the one and only. There is only one great power, one great presence. And that power is all-knowing, all-powerful, and everywhere present. So therefore, I know that I am, and you are, and we all are unified in the presence of the one. Because there is only one, and because I can be no other place but in the one, no matter what label I'm carrying. I know that I'm unified with that presence. And so is everybody within the sound of my voice, and even more. There's only one. I'm always unified with it. And so therefore I realize and declare that regardless of what I call myself, or what others call me, what other labels I put to myself, or what other labels others put to me, I am a spiritual being, living under the spiritual laws of the Great Spirit. I am a spiritual being, and I realize that I can stay rooted in that like a tree planted by waters. I shall not be moved. I refuse to be moved off that center that is divine, that never changes. Your center is divine and never changes. No matter what label gets put on me, no matter what label I put on myself, I can never change the divinity within. And so it is with you. That is your truth and my truth. Oh, yes, I know it. I believe it. I accept it. I accept it. I live every month and every day as a spiritual being. And I just say thank you. And I pass my word to Reverend Sunshine.
Word received with honor and reverence and grace, and continuing in this consciousness surrounding this community and this prayer and this state of prayerful sacred space that we co-create together. I speak a word here on behalf of our nonprofit partner this month, the RISE Foundation, the Rural India Educational Foundation that provides high-quality education for children in India. We bless them knowing that they are lifted in the good works that they do for their community. And we bless our world, here, there, and everywhere. We lift it up, whether it is in an inner city community, whether it is a far distant country, every place where especially where there is unrest, where there is this thing here on this human plane called war, what we know is peace. What we know is that those pieces are coming together in that oneness that Dr. Joel affirmed. That is the peace and harmony of God. And that we lift and bless each and every one that is affected by any of these wars that are happening, so that we can come back together in center, in love, as Regina prayed for earlier. Blessing everyone, everywhere, everything. That's the plants and the animals and all beings, even celestial beings, our ancestors and the greater beings, and whatever dimension plane that life exists. Life is eternal, so we are a part of this eternal presence of life. And that is what we bless and lift this day. And we also pray up all the prayers in the prayer box that Susan is holding, all the prayer requests, and all the names that are on the Ministry of Prayer list that our practitioners are praying for, that I will call out right now. I know in advance that whatever it is that they are seeking, love, harmony, peace, clarity, divine right action, joy, health, wholeness, well-being, abundance, whatever it is, that it is already provided for. We believe that God works in between and is miraculous and instantaneous, like right now. It's just that we need to bring our minds into the acceptance of that. And so what we know on behalf of Miss Lita de Seville is that she is healing in peace and wholeness. We know the same for Kurt, health, healing, and wholeness and well-being in his body, temple, mind, and spirit. And we bless Kaya Bonds right where she is, knowing that the pieces of her life are coming into peace, harmony, and wholeness right now. Blessing Master Practitioner Bonnie Allen. Blessing the Oakland Center for Spiritual Living and all of our neighboring sister communities. The San Jose CSL that Dr. Joel comes from, East Bay Church of Religious Science, Heart and Soul Center of Light, Agape Bay area, and all up and down the corridor, the unity, all the New Thought movement. It doesn't even matter what the movement is. All we need to do is move in spirit, that we are in that oneness. We bless and lift each one. Blessing Stephen, blessing Tamara Weisgerber, blessing Miles Mitchell in wholeness and healing, and blessing Miss Rita Cotton in her almost 103 years, blessing and loving her right where she is with health and peace and right action. And those who have made their transition to the other side of life, we bless them as well. Our longtime beloved practitioner, Gretchen Green, and we hold her in our hearts and lift up her family and her friends and her community. And we continue to bless the Walter family in the transition of Roberta recently, Firefly's mother, knowing and loving up that family who has experienced so much loss and tragedy, that their hearts be comforted with peace and well-being. And we bless Maggie Domas as her cat, Nino Dose, has transitioned to that rainbow bridge that the animals go to, knowing that life is eternal and that it is blessed beyond measure. And now is the time, beloveds, where we open up this prayer for your voice to be included, and we encourage you to speak your own name out loud and the names of whomever you want to be included in this vortex of love. Now is the time, beloveds. And as these names are bubbling up, and as the names are whispered and they continue to come, we just see them as bubbles rising up into the divine ethers, knowing that each and every one is blessed and that their prayer requests are honored, and whatever it is, that God knows exactly when they need it, what they need, and how to provide it. And so we simply stand in joyous acceptance of this good that we have proclaimed in this prayer with total gratitude, supreme gratitude, always so that the divine universal presence of law and love work together to make it so. And so we just stand in joyous awaiting, just opening up our hearts and our minds, saying, yes, bring it on. Bring it on. I accept. I am healed. I receive. I know it is true. I know it is done. And we proclaim together, what? And so